Hi everyone, I'm here with 𝗕𝗢𝗧𝗂𝗧 today and I'm really excited to hear about his story, and I'm really thankful to take this time in the middle of what's happening around the world, taking his time from his family to share his story with which I think we so go through cancer right now. So 𝗕𝗢𝗧𝗂𝗧𝗧, if you could, hello from the hello from Australia here. If you could just start off by if you could tell us how old you were when you were diagnosed with cancer and what cancer did you
have? The first time I was diagnosed with cancer, it was in 2010, and I was 35 at the moment. So it's been quite a while yet. And the second time was 2012, so I was 37 at back then.
And in 2010, what cancer did you have?
Well, both were the same type of cancer. It was what they call Cutane T-cell lymphoma. It's a very rare type of cancer, and actually they only treat that in one hospital in the Netherlands.
Right. Okay. So it's a rare type of lymphoma.
Mm-hmm. Yes, correct.
And is it in a particular area, or, in the lymph nodes, or is it, everywhere as well, or why is it rare?
Well, the first time I was noticing this lump on my wrist, so it was like it is a local lymph node cancer, which I had no clue at the beginning. Well, actually, I had no clue what it was anyway. I mean, it first looked like a red spot, or like an ingrown hair, or maybe like a zit. But within 3 weeks, it was like a big black and blue. It was like the half of a ping pong ball. And I was like, well, this doesn't look good. So I went to a physician, and she sent me through to a dermatologist. He was like, I have no clue what it is. Let's cut it out.
So from when it started with a little spot to when it grew like, like a tennis ball, like there was blue and purple, was it hurting, or was it painful or burning, or sensation?
Well, it was actually, I didn't really hear you correctly, but it was like a half of a ping pong ball, and it grew within 3 weeks from scratch to that.
And was it hurting, or was it like there was a burning sensation? Was there anything uncomfortable?
Yeah, it was. You could feel the pressure from it, and you start having a little tingling side because of it pinching on a nerve. Well, after about 3 weeks.
So is this a rare type of cancer? Is it genetic, or?
No, it's just happening like it is.
Okay. So when you went to the dermatologist, they said, let's get it out.
Yeah, that was the idea.
And so, was it happened quite quickly? They said, okay, we're doing this quite quickly, going to surgery and taking it out, or?
Yeah, exactly, like that.
And when they took it out, what happened? Was it full-on surgery, or was it like they put you completely out and they had to, or was it kind of,
well, as it was on my wrist, I was actually sitting on besides on the table, comfortably, and they were just cutting it out like that.
Wow. And was it okay, or?
Yeah, I was. The only thing I was afraid of that he wouldn't like cut a nerve, so I would be having like a dropping hand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the only thing I was anxious about at that moment. And further on, I was like, let's wait what the results will be.
Yeah. And they had like no idea. There was presumably they had like your blood work, like blood tests, and there was nothing showing up that there was they needed to take a biopsy to understand what.
Yeah, just take it out and taking the biopsy, and further on, no particular other signs.
And do you remember having had a blood test as well with your physician before all of that happened?
I'm not quite sure yet. Well, it is 10 years ago.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay. So, and when the biopsy came back, you saw the dermatologist again.
Yeah, so the dermatologist, and he said, well, it's this type of cancer, and we will send you over to this hospital. You have to make appointments there and have regular checkups over there, because they have the expertise over there, but not at the local hospital.
And what was the treatment? So did you had to go to this other hospital, which was far away from your house, or
Well, it was like 70 miles, 110 kilometers. So when it comes to distance, it wasn't that far. But usually I had to go to rush traffic, and that makes it a little more further. But
yeah. And that was the only hospital that looked after that type of cancer, and you had.
Yeah, I think only like 10 to 15 people are diagnosed each year with this type of cancer in the Netherlands.
Wow. And so you saw an oncologist when you went to the hospital?
Mm-hmm. Correctly.
And he explained to you, yeah, you do have cancer, or do you remember if it was, stage 1, stage 2, or how does that, I'm not sure if there was any sort of.
Well, they first of all, they explained what it was, and they reassured me, yeah, it is very aggressive, but it's local.
Okay.
And that's actually a weird combination, because I've never heard from it. When I was told something is aggressive,
yeah,
it would go throughout your body. So that was quite new for me. And even with my background as a physical therapist, I thought, well, okay, didn't pick it up in that school either.
yeah. And being on the lymph nodes, and and given that the oncologist said it was aggressive, so what were the chances of like traveling through the other lymph nodes in other parts of the body? They said.
Well, they told me it was not, because it was contained within the lymph node for some reason. Instead of it spreading around.
Okay. And what was the treatment?
Actually, it was just at that in 2010, it were just regular checkups, the whole body, and it was like gradually less checkups, and after about a year and a half, it was about done to about once every half year to a year we would go to.
And did they say anything about the possibility of coming back, like the cancer coming back? Or?
Oh yeah, that's a nice story. He said, because at the last checkup I had, he told me, well, you have a greater chance of winning the state lottery than getting this one again. I was like, okay, that sounds really good.
I'll take that.
I'll take that. Yeah. Well, I did win the lottery, but not that one.
Oh, so then was in one of the checks they found out it had come back?
No. In 2012, at the end of 2012, I was noticing this little lump in my groin area, and I was like, "Hey, this is weird. This isn't round. This is more the size of like a really small Tic Tac." I don't know if you know that candy.
Yeah. So quite small in comparison to a ping pong ball, like, you know.
Yeah, and it was that size and that shape. And I was like, okay, this is weird. So I called
And hard as well. Or,
and yeah, and hard,
yeah.
but no discoloration yet at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I called the hospital. I said, okay, this is what I'm seeing. Can I please have another checkup? And she said, sure. And so I went up there and they said, yeah, good call.
Oh.
We have this is indeed the same thing again. But not to worry, it hasn't spread. We're going to be on the safe side. So they did take like a bone marrow
Samples.
yeah, a sample.
So before, so just going back a bit. So when they felt it on the outside and they said this is the same cancer, or did they do a biopsy with the you know, the lump that you had?
I can't recall a biopsy, but they did do the
just
bone
feelings.
marrow.
They said that, oh, the bone marrow. Okay. After they did the bone marrow, yeah.
Yeah. This time, though, the treatment was quite different because this time we went on to radiation therapy.
Oh, okay.
And
so did they take the lump on the groin or no? Did they take it out?
No, they didn't. It was radiation therapy only.
Okay. And
So
do you
what they
remember how
did,
many radiation therapies did you have?
I think it was about 13 or 14.
And it was just trying to get rid of that particular lump and around, you know, any area around that.
Yeah, and as I knew what it was this time, I was a little bit more anxious than the first time.
Yeah.
And the treatment was different because, I mean, when it's cut out, you know, I'm getting rid of it.
Yeah.
And with radiation, it's like, you know, you have to wait till it slowly diminishes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And with the bone marrow sample that they took, did they see anything abnormal, or it was just to check that everything was fine?
No, everything was fine and clear.
And how did you feel during the, you know, the radiation therapies? Like, how did you feel during that treatment?
Actually, it was quite easy with one thing which was really annoying, and that's because I was 37. I had 2 girls at that time, and they were asking, "Do you want any more kids?"
Yeah.
So I was like, "Well," I talked to my wife. We actually would like one more, or maybe not, but let's not take any chances with that. So what they did do was make like a metal or a lead casting, so the radiation would not spread, and things would be safe.
Okay. And did they give you, was that 100% guarantee that the radiation wouldn't spread into different parts of your body, or how does that work?
Well, they really had a good system, so they could not ever go for 100%, but pretty close to it.
Okay. Did you have a third child?
No.
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 I want to say it's wise because I think 2 is enough. But anyway, I only have 2. I don't think I could have another one.
No, yeah, my first daughter was born in 2006, and so she turned 14 last week. And at the age of 6, we thought she was like acting a little weird, and turns out she is having a nice full spectrum of autism. So we were like, oh, we need to put all our focus on her and number two.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a little bit more like intense, isn't it? Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and then after that, you know after radiation, was it go home and again come back for frequent checks or?
Well, the thing is, I actually worked through the whole radiation because it was kind of easy, because it was somewhat on the way to work and back, because this was about 70 kilometers, what is it, 45 miles. And I was working in 2 shifts as a logistical supervisor. So it was kind of easy that way, and it was easy to fit in. But and people were warning me, you better be taking good care of yourself, because there's going to be a man with a hammer who's going to hit you. And I'm like, yeah, don't feel it yet, don't feel it yet. I don't
and
think
did
it's
you ever feel it?
Yeah, by 3-4 weeks after I was done with the radiation therapy.
Really?
It was like, yeah, but at that point it's like, you're focused on getting better.
Or just finishing radiotherapy, at least, isn't it? Like finishing the line, like finishing the sessions, and then yeah,
exactly. And after that it was like, okay, now I can let go, I can relax a little bit, and then everything pretty much sets in. So yeah, at that moment, I mean, you feel really tired. And you just have to take more rest.
Right. So were you able to keep working, or did you take time off?
Yeah, that's not something I really do.
But,
well, I should have done that, because I mean, I started either at 6 in the morning, or I ended up at 11 at night. And in hindsight, yeah, I was working at 2 shifts.
Wow.
That was really not a good idea.
And you kept doing that are you still doing that?
No, I went off to another job.
Okay. Well, because
and after I went off to another job, I really realized how bad that influenced my life. Yeah,
and I mean, like back to, you mentioned that you've got a background in health. Presumably were healthy before this happened, like you yourself, like exercise or ate well, or?
Could you please repeat that question, because we had a bad connection?
Before cancer, even before your first, episode of cancer, would you say you were a healthy person?
Yeah, quite healthy. I was playing soccer like twice a week. So yeah.
And then,
in general,
did you change anything in between? Like after you got diagnosed from the first time, in that year and a half, then between cancer diagnosis, did you change anything around your health? Or did you change your diet or exercise?
I started playing sports a little bit. I started running a little bit more.
Okay.
Which I used to do because I was playing sports like crazy when I was younger, and I slacked off.
Yeah.
And especially the last 4 years now, I've been also like getting much more into better foods.
Okay.
Because of my work and because of dealing with my kids, it takes a lot of energy, and I needed more energy. So So I'm taking in a lot more greens, which I really lacked of. And at the time I got both times I got cancer, I mean, I ate my vegetables. I'm not like really into fruit, but I do manage to take more of that and change my health in that matter. Less refined sugars, or preferably not at all.
Yeah. And but what, I mean, why do you think you had cancer?
Oh yeah, well, I don't think I took care well enough of myself.
Mm.
And secondly, I was at that time I was working at a facility of 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗪. And I was walking through the factory. I was training people on how they have to do their jobs, and I was walking through where they also process the tobacco, and
Wow,
it was like really dusty. And I was like, yeah, this is not really a great surrounding for me.
How long did you work there for before you got diagnosed with cancer?
I would say about 2 years.
Oh, wow. That's incredible, isn't it? And obviously you were working from 6 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock in the evening.
No, that was another.
Oh, in another job. Okay, okay.
Yeah. And that was when in 2012, I was doing the 2-shift work, but when I was in 2010, I was working at a 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗪 site.
So after you had the cancer, is that why you changed jobs? You decide to change jobs, or?
What was that last thing?
After you had the cancer in 2010, did you decide to change your job because you thought that maybe could have had some impact on your health?
Frankly, I didn't do that on purpose.
Okay.
What I did do was that the trainings were going that well that people stayed longer at the facility, which means the hours were really diminishing. And I just told my boss, you know, if I put it this and this and this, you can get rid of me.
So you were too efficient.
Yeah, but I also have a business management background, so I thought I felt obligated.
So, well, that might have been very good for your health, though.
Quitting there, yes. And especially for breathing.
I was going to say, yes, definitely. Yeah. Have you ever smoked yourself?
When I was about 14 or 15, I bought one package of smokes, and I was so disgusted by it that I was like, no thanks.
Awesome. So after, when you started feeling tired after that, you know, second, after you know, the radiation, did you slowly started getting your energy back?
Could you please repeat that?
Yeah, no, that's right. After your radiation had finished, did you mentioned that 3 weeks after you started getting really tired. Did you ever got your like energy back? Like, were you slowly getting your energy back after that?
Yes, but it took quite a while, and actually it was especially finishing off that job afterwards that I was able to regain my strength back and my stamina back, because the work schedule was like really hectic, and we really had a lot of deadlines which were strict every day, and I did like that. But when we have like some technical difficulties and I had to stay later than 11, then I was really exhausted, and it wasn't really good for my how would I say it?
Your health.
Well, not only my health, but the way I was acting.
Oh yeah, your mental kind of well-being, right? Yeah, because you were
Well,
exhausted.
yeah, and the way I was communicating to the kids, to the wife, and
Yeah.
people around me, and being clearly. I mean, you're a little more faster annoyed and irritated,
Yeah.
and upon like that. So I was a little less nice of a person back then.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, if you don't sleep, I mean, I can't. I'm still thinking like what time you went to bed, because you all that long had to wake up at 6, you know, in the morning. That's not much sleep either, you know, after everything that you had gone through. What does, so that was 2000, it's still quite a long time ago, 8 years ago. What does life look like now for you, you know, in regards to, you know, looking after yourself? You mentioned that and you know, you're not working, you know, those crazy hours anymore. What does life look like for you now?
A lot better, but I must say when it comes to energy levels, there have been some other challenges which have remained kept low. After I was diagnosed the first time with cancer, I had to take in my younger daughter to the hospital because she was having like issues with her breathing. So they had her at the hospital for 5 days, and she nearly died because I was just in time, because her lungs were filled up with fluids. So that happened. In between those two cancers, and afterwards my wife was a teacher, and I mean afterwards, after 2012, so much had worked out on her, and she was having a burnout. She had stayed at home for about 2 years, which means I was doing a lot of chores. And that really exhausted both of us. And like I said, my oldest daughter has been diagnosed with autism. At points she was like really aggressive, and she needed a lot of attention. And then our second daughter, we were seeing like there's something going on with her. So she was tested, and she was like tested as, one side, highly intelligent, but also with a post-traumatic stress syndrome, because of all the things which happened, and aggressiveness of my elder daughter, which she put to her, and all that combined, it's like, you know, you're juggling with all the energy, trying to balance, and those were things all together which, like, you know, pushing yourself towards you know, taking better care of your health. And what also really helped us, we moved in 2014 to a larger house. I already had some stuff I could work out with, and I really didn't have the space much in my previous house, so I could work out more easily at home. And well, that sped up things to get better food, like I said, and well, that has helped a lot. But it's still a challenge from that side. But it actually has not much to do anymore with the cancer, I would say, but more with the other things which went into the same time frame.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for being open. You know, I think, you know, I don't want to stereotype here, but as a man, you know, I find it's so hard sometimes to get, you know, men to share their real story and their struggles and what they're going through. And I think it's so important that we are doing this because, you know, some men will be at home going through this and tired and overwhelmed by everything else that is happening in their lives. And it's lonely. You don't share, you don't, you know, talk to anyone. You know, you had as well. I had, you know, sometimes you had cancer. They were sharing the hesitation for you to get where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
And in regards to, you know, if today you met somebody who was diagnosed with the same cancer as you were, what would you say to that person?
I think one of the most important things is try, even though it's really hard, try to stay relaxed. And that is because you just need to keep your stress levels down to remain strong. And one of the things I was doing, not the first time because I had no clue what it was, but the second time I did, it was like more telling my own body, you know, you better take care of yourself. I was actually talking to my body either just before I went to go to sleep or just after I was done sleeping in the morning, you know. I was actually talking to myself in the third person in my head, like, you know, okay, I want to be healthy. Okay, please get out of my body.
Awesome. That is beautiful.
Things like that. I mean, it was actually more like really trying to focus on a positive outcome and trying to keep that stress levels down. Because stress doesn't really do well on your recovery as well.
No.
And that way I try to positively influence myself, at least whether it's some feeling of control you do have about yourself. And I'm not saying whether it's a true control, but at least it gives you a feeling of control on a positive outcome.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. And I think that I did the same. I speak to my body a lot. And especially, you know, just before like I check, I'm still getting checked often, every 3 months. And you know, when you get like a bit nervous and a bit, you know, and I feel that the body it's very intelligent, you know, by itself. And I think that once you do that, it's a very rewarding process. You know, you receive a lot back by talking to your own body, and I think that is a really valid thing that you're saying. Have you been able to find positives on your journey? What would you say was the most positive thing that happened in this journey?
Well, you start learning how you cope with things and how to remain at ease. And the one thing which did struck me is you know, you just have to keep focusing on a positive outcome. I mean, there are so many anxieties you can think of in this whole process, and there are other things from like your past, from relatives, stories, which also influence you. And most important thing is try to stay calm, even though at some points it's like really difficult. And yeah, you were talking about being a man. just cry sometimes, even though it's really hard. And you don't have to be ashamed of it. And if you are, it's fine to, you know, find a corner.
Yeah, I know.
Or find a quiet place.
Yeah.
It's something you have to deal with it, but don't put it away because it will haunt you in the back. I mean, it will still cause you extra stress, which you really don't need.
No, definitely. Yeah. Thank you for saying that again, because I think there is so many out there needing to hear that message, you know. You know, like I said, you know, it's not good for us to be holding on to those things, especially when you have cancer.
And I do have a military background. So I was also taught to, you know, to toughen up, know what you're doing at these moments. think of what you, there are always more strategies than one. And if you act like a military person, just attack it from more sides. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Do you think that's it was helpful, like when you were going through, like to, you know, to have that background?
Yeah, to remain at ease. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it does.
Yeah, in a stressful situation. Yeah. And what was the hardest thing for you?
The hardest thing was actually the first time around, because like I just said, you have some stories in your family, and with mine, it's my mom was born on May 7th, 1945, and my grandfather passed away in November 44. And that was because he was shot by friendly fire. So she never knew her dad. And my one daughter, she was 11 months when I had cancer the first time. So it's like, I knew the story, I knew the hardship and the pain, and I always saw the anxiety and the fear in my mother's eyes, and I was like, man, I just have to go through this, because there's no way I want to have my daughter experience pretty much the same as my mom did, because I don't want her to be well, that anxious and that lack of confidence. So I was like, you know, you just have to go through that. And the second time I was more relaxed about it, because I knew pretty much what was going to happen, but still, it's still a story in the background which keeps replaying itself.
How do you feel now? How do you feel now about it? I mean, I'm only on my first year after my treatment. Like I said, I get checks often. You know, how do you feel now, you know, 8 years after your last diagnosis?
In general, pretty good. What I did, I really check myself daily right from 2012, and I'm slacking off on that. Because I really hope I don't win the lottery third time. But I still do that, and when there are lumps, I keep checking on them, and I do have sensitive skin, and I'm allergic for some plants.
Okay.
So when I do some yard work and I touch those, I do get a lump. So, and those are the days when you are reminded of it. But you are, you know, I'm aware, okay, this is caused by the plant, by the acids from the plant, and most likely not something returning.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the days that I keep checking my whole body again.
Right. And you don't have
Just,
any more checks. You don't have any more checks now, do you?
no, it was about 2.5 years after when they say, okay, you know, you can always call us, but it's not necessary anymore at this time.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's amazing. You've shared so much with us, Jos. I'm so grateful for your honesty, for sharing your true story. I am sure you're going to help so many people that will be watching this interview, you know, just by giving them some hope, some light, some, you know, ideas and things, and almost like, you know, give them permission to, you know, to be true to themselves, and like you said, sometimes cry, but sometimes be strong as well.
Yeah, I really hope everybody has like the people who have like cancer have a speedy recovery, and I hope they can pull each other through, whether it's with friends, family, through these videos. I really do.
Awesome.
I mean, it's hard enough, and you know, try to seek support if you need it. I mean,
definitely, yeah, I think so. I
reach
think
out.
that's exactly, yes, definitely. I think it's we live in a world that is hard for people to reach out for help. You know, people feel like they're weak, you know, by reaching out, and I think we need to allow ourselves to be able to reach out for help.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Help, comfort, whatsoever. But you know, most important thing is, you know, the energy which you have, put it on focusing on a positive result.
Outcome, yeah, definitely.
Outcome, yeah.
Results.
Yeah.
Result, yeah, that's a good word too. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been amazing. And yes, I really, really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you for having me.
Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.
Okay, take care. You too. Thank you, 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗞.